Have you ever chased people who never look back? Tried so hard to be seen that you forgot how to see yourself? This is not just another story. It is a moment of realization, a mirror for everyone who has ever given too much and received silence in return. What happens when the person you keep running after finally stops? And it is you? Stay till the end, because one small truth in this story might just change the way you see your own worth forever. Listen carefully and discover why peace begins where chasing ends. The cafe was crowded that morning. The sound of steaming milk, clinking cups, and murmured conversations filled the air. Ethan sat by the window, staring at his phone screen for what felt like the 100th time. No new messages. No replies. His thumb hovered over the last conversation, a message he had sent 2 days ago. "Hey, are you free this weekend?" Still marked as seen. He sighed quietly, trying to hide the sting behind a small, forced smile. Outside, raindrops slid down the glass, blurring the city lights. Inside, his coffee had gone cold. It was not the first time he felt this invisible pull, the desire to be noticed, to be valued, to be chosen. He replayed old memories in his mind, the times he had gone out of his way to help others, the nights he had stayed up just to listen to someone's problems, the days he had canceled his own plans for people who never asked about his. And yet, when he needed someone, silence. The thought pressed on his chest like a weight. He took a deep breath and looked at his reflection in the window. His eyes looked tired, not from lack of sleep, but from running after people who never looked back. Then something happened. A message popped up. His heart jumped. It was her, Mia, the girl he had been waiting for. But the message was short. "Hey, sorry, been busy. Hope you are good." That was it. No question, no warmth, no real care. Just a line to keep the distance polite. Ethan felt a strange stillness inside him. He stared at the screen for a long moment, and then slowly he placed the phone face down. The world around him faded. The noise, the smell of coffee, the sound of laughter, everything blurred except one quiet truth echoing in his mind. You are chasing people who are walking away, while those who truly care are standing still. He blinked, letting that thought sink deep into his chest. His throat tightened. For the first time in a long while, he felt something shift inside, like a heavy door unlocking. He stood up, left a few coins beside the cup, and walked out into the rain. The water touched his face, cold and honest. Each drop felt like it was washing away a piece of his old self, the part that begged to be seen. He looked up at the gray sky and smiled faintly. "From now on," he whispered, "I will stop chasing and start choosing." Ethan stepped onto the wet pavement. The rain was steady now, soft but constant. It whispered against his jacket as he walked, each drop sinking with his heartbeat. He did not rush. For once, he was not in a hurry to go anywhere, not desperate to check his phone, not anxious to be seen. The city moved around him. Umbrellas opened, cars splashed through puddles. A woman laughed under a streetlight. Life carried on, indifferent yet alive. And that realization hit him. He had been living as if his worth depended on other people's attention, always performing, always waiting. He stopped near a bookstore, one he used to walk past every day but never entered. The lights inside glowed warm against the rain. Something about it felt inviting. He stepped in. The scent of old paper and coffee filled the air. People sat quietly, reading, smiling, lost in their own worlds. No one cared who he was. And for once, that felt freeing. He picked a book at random. The title read, "The Power of Stillness." He smiled faintly. It felt like the universe was teasing him. He sat down, opened the first page, and began to read. The words were simple. Stop trying to be everywhere. Start being fully where you are. He paused. A deep breath filled his lungs. That was it. That was the lesson he had been running from. All this time, he had been chasing connection by running. But true connection comes from stillness, from peace. As he closed the book, he saw his reflection in the glass window. This time, the man staring back was different. Not desperate, not waiting, just present. A vibration broke the silence. His phone lit up. It was another message from Mia. "Are you free tonight?" He stared at it for a moment, then smiled softly, not bitterly, not angrily, just calm. He locked the screen, placed the phone in his pocket, and returned to his book. He had stopped chasing, and strangely, for the first time, he felt found. Ethan stayed in the bookstore until evening. The world outside had turned dark, but inside, everything felt warm. A quiet universe built of words and calm breaths. He looked around. People smiled without pretending. No one was chasing attention here. They were simply being. He realized then, life was not about being liked by everyone. It was about becoming someone who liked himself first. He remembered all the times he had forced laughter, the times he had replied instantly to people who never cared, the nights he had replayed conversations in his head, wondering what he said wrong. Now he saw the truth clearly. It was never about what he lacked. It was about what he gave too freely. His peace, his time, his energy. He whispered quietly to himself, "Respect your own space. Those who belong in it will walk in naturally." He smiled, a real one this time. Not the smile that hides pain, but the one that comes from healing. When he finally left the bookstore, the rain had stopped. The street shimmered under the lamplight. The air smelled clean, like a fresh start. As he walked, he passed people talking, laughing, rushing, but none of it disturbed him anymore. He was no longer waiting to be chosen. He had chosen himself. That night, before sleeping, he opened his journal. He wrote a single line at the top of the page. Stop chasing people. Start becoming someone worth meeting. He closed the book, and for the first time in a long time, his heart felt light, free, peaceful. The next morning, Ethan woke early. Sunlight streamed through the curtains. He brewed a cup of coffee, not for anyone else, but for himself. He smiled as the aroma filled the room, feeling a deep calm spread through his chest. He was not the same person anymore. He had learned the quiet power of not chasing, the strength of stillness, the beauty of peace, and the magic of self-respect. The days began to move differently after that. Ethan no longer woke up with a heavy urge to check his phone. He no longer measured his mornings by who messaged first, but by how peaceful his own thoughts felt. His world, once crowded with noise, was now filled with purpose. At work, people started to notice something had changed. He still spoke softly, still smiled politely, but there was something new behind his words. Calm, confidence, clarity. During a team discussion one afternoon, his manager paused mid-sentence and looked at him. "Ethan," she said, "you seem different lately, more centered." He smiled. "Maybe I just stopped rushing to be understood," he replied, "and started understanding myself." The room went silent for a moment. Even those who had once ignored him now listened. It was strange. The very moment he stopped chasing approval, approval began to find him. Later that evening, as the sun set behind tall glass buildings, Ethan walked home through the park. Children laughed by the swings. The scent of earth and grass mixed with the fading light. He sat on a bench and watched the colors of the sky, orange melting into violet. He felt an ache in his chest. But it was not sadness. It was gratitude. He whispered softly, "I spent so long chasing people, but all I ever needed was to meet myself." A gentle wind brushed against his face. For a moment, he closed his eyes, and it felt like the universe smiled back. The sun slipped below the horizon, leaving behind streaks of gold that slowly faded into twilight. Ethan sat there, watching the world dim into quiet beauty. He realized something profound. Peace does not come when life stops being hard. It comes when you stop fighting yourself. He thought about all the people he had once chased, the friends who vanished, the conversations that ended with silence, the faces that never turned back. And for the first time, he felt no resentment, only gratitude, because losing them had brought him back to himself. He whispered softly into the evening air, "Thank you for walking away, because when you did, you made space for me to walk in." The streetlights flickered on, casting a warm glow over the path ahead. He stood up slowly, straightened his shoulders, and began to walk, not fast, but with purpose. With every step, he felt lighter, more present, more alive. People passed by. Some smiled, Some ignored him. Some barely noticed. And that was perfectly fine. He was no longer chasing validation. He was radiating calm. And those who were meant for him would find that energy effortlessly. As he reached the corner of the street, a little boy accidentally bumped into him. The boy looked up, startled. "I am sorry," he said quickly. Ethan smiled gently, kneeling down. "It is all right," he said. "Just keep walking. Always forward, never chasing." The boy grinned and ran off into the night. Ethan watched him go, his heart warm, his mind still. That night, as he lay in bed, the silence no longer felt empty. It felt sacred, like peace itself had finally come home. And in that silence, one truth echoed louder than any voice ever had. The right people feel your peace. The wrong ones are disturbed by it. Either way, stay calm, stay kind, and stay you. As the night deepened, the city quieted. The distant hum of traffic faded into the rhythm of the wind. Ethan stood by his window, watching the moonlight rest gently on the rooftops. He smiled, not because everything in his life was perfect, but because he no longer needed it to be. He had learned that peace is not found in people's approval, but in the courage to stand still when the world rushes past. He reached for his notebook again, the same one where he had written his promise. Stop chasing people. Start becoming someone worth meeting. Tonight, he added a final line beneath it. And when you become that person, the right ones will find you. He closed the notebook softly. The sound of the cover shutting felt like a quiet ending. A chapter completed. Outside, the moon shone brighter. Inside, Ethan felt lighter. He walked to his mirror, looked at his reflection, and for the first time in years, he did not see someone waiting to be loved. He saw someone already enough. He whispered to himself, "Peace begins where chasing ends." Then he turned off the light and let the silence hold him. It was not lonely anymore. It was home.